In this episode, I have special guest Radim Zenkl here, the Czech mandolin player who is also got a big reputation and career both in the Europe but also in the States. So it's a very nice guest we have today, and we're going to talk about his background, of course, but also a little bit about developing your own style in your mandolin playing. And we're also going to have a close look at Radim's special mandolin technique. It almost sounds like two mandolin played at the same times. It's called the Zenkl style. So here we go. Hey there, music makers. I'm Magnus and welcome to the Mandolin Secrets podcast. This is the place to get tips, inspiration, and stories that supports you on your musical journey. Thank you so much for tuning in, and just know you can go to mandolinsecrets.com/podcast for more information on how to keep up with the show and also find all previous episodes. Now, let's get this episode rolling. All right, we are here. It's the middle of the summer, Sweden at Torsåker Bluegrass Festival, making a podcast episode, and I got a special guest with me today, Radim Zenkl, the great Czech mandolin player, who, well, and to me, you are a bit unique in that way because you have a very big reputation and a career both in Europe and as well as in the States. And Radim, first of all, how are you doing? And would you mind telling us what you've been doing this day so far?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. Well, today we were at the last day of the festival, the Torsåker Festival. Me and my musical partner Ondra Kozák, we played a set at a church, and sometimes, these things. Me and Ondra, we played like at a church in Norway sometimes ago, or I remember playing in Finland in a church, and it was basically like a concert. But today was really special because it was at an evangelical church, and we were part of the service. So we get to experience the whole atmosphere, but nevertheless we got to play a lot. We got to play 10 selections, plus to also accompany the pianist for the gospel singing.
Yeah. So
we had a fantastic time. It was a great community, and of course playing in a church, it's a kind of reward by itself. Beautiful surroundings, beautiful sound. Beautiful sort of spatial reverb. So I'm psyched. It was great.
It was an amazing kind of concert and ceremony, and even I think we could really feel how this the priest here were really feeling it's a special moment, because I don't believe in Torsåker Church it's once a year that the house is full like this, so full of the festival participants and audience. So even the songs that we did all together, it was really filled with this powerful bluegrass voices. It was amazing. But such a beautiful concert, and I think your music is filled with so much spirit. So I could really see why they put you in there for the show. But yes, you are here mainly because you are an amazing mandolin player. My first experience with you goes 20 years back when I first got in contact with you. And just quickly for the listeners, can you, when did your mandolin journey start, sort of?
I guess sort of my musical journey was such that in my second grade I played some piano at a music school, but didn't get too far. I guess I couldn't really connect to the music or these exercises of that time. These days I think the piano is taught differently, so it's more, I guess, more engaging for the young kids. So, but nevertheless, that was the beginning. Then I later on at the fourth grade, I joined a choir, singing choir, and that was more fun. I could really relate to the music. And there I met a friend who was a couple of years older, and he played guitar. And there was a direct inspiration, so I was basically copying him, learning from him. And so by the age of 12, I was working on a guitar.
Yeah.
But then there were quite a few guitar players in our sort of area, and I thought it would be nice to have a different instrument so we could play like in a band or things together. So he switched to bass and then banjo, and I thought, well, what about mandolin? I didn't really know much about it. I just remember seeing it at the window of a music store, and even remember this moment. I was like, wow, this is a weird instrument. I played the guitar, but little did I know that sometime later it's gonna change. And I was also a member of a sort of a Boy Scout troop, and we would go, to the nature camping. And one of our leaders brought a mandolin for one of the outings, and I liked it. I was able to try it, and it's as you know, it's very similar to the guitar technique-wise. And it's a cool tone, and it's a small.
It's good for hiking also. Easy to carry.
Exactly, the size for traveling. So I got hooked. So those two things together. So then I asked my father that I told him that I'd like to get a mandolin, and he approved. He was a classical music teacher, and he bought me a mandolin, and then I was just kind of figuring things on my own, basically playing melodies, and
Sorry for interrupting. So you also mentioned your father was a music teacher, even.
Yes, he's a teacher of basically music education and music theory, especially intonation. That was his specialty.
Wow.
But coming from the classical perspective, it was interesting. He told me, well, on the mandolin you don't really, play chords much. As we know, it's not the case. And those days the mandolin was not taught in any school in the Czech Republic or former Czechoslovakia. So I had to, figure things out on my own. But that made it more interesting to me right away. So, finding the sounds for the chords, and getting used to the sound of the chord, which is basically octave higher than a guitar. So it, it really took some getting used to. And so I was playing some sort of folk music, and later on, I think I was about 16. Or 15 or 16, I heard some Czech bands playing bluegrass, and they had a mandolin.
Yeah.
And until then, I would be playing kind of simple stuff like. Right.
Yeah.
That's and then in bluegrass. Wow, the 16 notes. This is so cool.
That's cool.
And so I got hooked, and I said, well, it's played on a mandolin. I have a mandolin. I gotta work on it, and I was inspired, and so that's how it started.
Thank you so much for watching this highlight video. If you want to watch the entire episode, you can do it inside Mandolin Secrets Academy. Or you can also go to your favorite podcast platform and listen to an audio version of this podcast episode. You can also go to our website to listen to the podcast. The web address is mandolinsecrets.com/podcast. And always remember, be a music maker.